All right, let's talk about building for the web today. We're going to dive into a combo that's completely changing the game for developers, Next.js and Tailwind CSS. If you're looking to build sites that are just incredibly fast, modern, and beautiful, well, you're in the right place.
So, to really get why this stuff is such a big deal, we first need to talk about a problem. It's a problem that pretty much all of us run into every single day. We're going to call it the modern web gap.
We've all been there, right? You click a link, and the page is just white forever. Or you search for something, and a site you know should be there is nowhere to be found. Or you try to use a site on your phone, and it's a clunky, awful mess. These aren't just little annoyances. They're symptoms of this huge gap between what we expect online and what a lot of websites actually give us. So what's the solution? How do we actually build a bridge over that gap? Well, the first pillar of our bridge is a framework that is, no exaggeration, revolutionary. It's called Next.js. The best way to think about Next.js isn't just as another tool. It's more like a whole new playbook for building modern websites. It takes all the power of React and wraps it in a really smart, structured framework that's designed from the ground up to solve those exact problems we just talked about. Speed, SEO, user experience, right out of the box.
Now, this is where things get really cool. See, Next.js knows that not all pages are created equal. It's not a one-size-fits-all deal. You get to choose how each page is rendered. So for a blog, you can use static site generation, or SSG, to make it blazing fast. For a user dashboard with live data, you use server-side rendering, SSR, to keep it fresh. And for something like an e-commerce store, you can use ISR, which gives you the best of both worlds. Having this level of control is just a massive win. But honestly, the real game changer, the thing that's a massive leap forward, is something called server components. This is a whole new way of thinking. It lets you decide, component by component, where your code runs. Does it run on the server, or does it run in the user's browser? This means you can do all your heavy data fetching on the server, keeping it super secure, and send almost nothing to the client. The result? A huge, huge reduction in the amount of code the user has to download. Let's put that into perspective. In the old world, it was totally normal for a website to send down a massive chunk of JavaScript. We're talking 450 kilobytes or even more. Your phone or computer has to download all of that, process it, and run it, just to make the page interactive. And check this out. This is the magic of server components. By moving a lot of that logic to the server, we can slash that bundle size. We can take it from 450 KB all the way down to something like 120 kilobytes. That is a night-and-day difference in performance, especially for anyone on a slower connection or a mobile device.
Okay, so we've got the engine sorted with Next.js. What about the bodywork, the look and feel? That brings us to our second pillar. We're going to solve the absolute chaos of traditional styling with Tailwind CSS.
You know, one of the biggest headaches in any web project, it's that moment when a beautiful design from a designer has to become actual working code. It's where things get lost in translation. Tailwind fixes this by creating a shared language, a system that both designers and developers can understand and use. The idea behind it is kind of brilliant in its simplicity. Instead of spending all your time inventing custom names for things like .big blue button, you built your designs using tiny, single-purpose utility classes. Think of them like Lego bricks. BG blue 500 for a blue background, text white for white text. You just compose them together right in your HTML. And what you're seeing here is a fundamental shift. We're moving away from naming things to describing them. Instead of having to jump to a totally separate CSS file to figure out what .nav item header does, you can see its styles right there in the code. It makes everything so much easier to read, to maintain, and to change later on. So we've got the raw power and architecture of Next.js, and we've got the incredible styling speed of Tailwind. So what happens when you bring them together? Well, it's pretty much magic. Seriously, making a site that looks amazing on any screen, from your phone to a giant desktop, becomes ridiculously easy. With Tailwind, you can just say, hey, be a column on small screens, but on medium screens and up, be a row. You do that with one little prefix, md-flexrow. You're building fully responsive designs without ever leaving your HTML. It's fast, it's intuitive, and it helps you get those perfect performance scores. And Next.js just pours gasoline on this performance fire. It comes with these built-in, optimized components like its image and font components. They automatically do all the smart stuff for you, like lazy loading images, using modern formats, and stopping text and images from jumping around as they load. It just handles it.
So what does this all add up to? Well, the numbers don't lie. When you put these two together, you see real-world savings of 200, even 400 milliseconds on your load times, and your performance scores can jump by 15 to 25 points. In the world of SEO and user experience, those numbers are absolutely massive.
Okay, we've built this amazing thing. It's fast, it looks great, it works on every device. Now what? How do we get it out there for the world to see?
This used to be the hard part, right? Well, not anymore. With platforms like Vercel, which is actually made by the same people who make Next.js, deployment is literally as simple as get push. You just push your code, and the platform takes care of everything else. It builds your site and puts it on a global network so it's fast for everyone, everywhere. And this is where your team gets superpowers. I'm not kidding. Every single time you make a change and push it, you get a special preview link. Your designer can look at it, your QA team can test it, your boss can approve it, all on a live working version of the site before it ever goes public. It's an incredible way to build and ship software with confidence.
So let's just take a step back. What have we achieved here? We've built a foundation that is rock solid. We can now create websites that are fast, that can scale to millions of users, that are accessible, and that are actually fun to build. This duo, Next.js for the bones and Tailwind for the skin, has really set a whole new bar for what a modern website can and should be. It solves all those annoying fundamental problems so we can finally focus on what really matters, creating an amazing experience for the user. Which brings us to the big question, the next level. We've built the perfect canvas. It's solid, it's fast, it's beautiful. But how do we make it feel alive? How do we add that little bit of magic and delight that makes a site truly memorable? Well, that's exactly what we're going to cover in our next explainer, when we dive into Framer Motion and React icons to bring our static designs to life. I'll see you then.